Florida State head coach Mike Norvell continues to impress on the recruiting trail. This past week, FSU hosted what they call the Seminoles Showcase and managed to secure some commitments from a few key prospects. They bolstered the trenches on both sides of the ball in the 2022 class with offensive line commit Daughtry Richardson and defensive line commit Daniel Lyons, while also getting a key commitment for the 2023 class in quarterback Chris Parson. These recruits might all have a 3-star by their name, but they all represent high-ceiling prospects that can potentially rise through the rankings. So it seems worth the time to go through the film and see what they can bring to the Seminoles. Here to help me do that as always is Coach Adam Brown. But joining us for a quick wrap-up of the weekend is none other than one of the hosts of the Seminole Rap podcasts and our boss at Tomahawk Nation, Perry Kostidakis.
Well, thank you for having me, gentlemen. It's been an exciting last couple days. Not only did you get a quarterback commit last week, you're just giggling. You love my professional
smooth. How so smooth?
It was smooth. Oh, I'm just doing my Trey Rowland expression. So quarterback last week, Chris Parson. Sunday, today, you got a defensive lineman and offensive lineman. Trenches. Star player. Exciting stuff, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you're missing some of the patented Trey energy.
Oh, exciting stuff, right? Ooh, let's go. Let's go.
That was it. All
right, there we go.
The macho
So,
man
AB,
in the house.
Initial takeaways. Chris Parson, your 2023 quarterback. Where do you sit in just comparing him to recent commits?
I think he's a little underrated. I think he's going to be a player that's going to be on the rise for 23. Has a good arm. Some mechanical things he's got to clean up. A player that's kind of bounced around the country, it seems like, a lot of different high schools in his career. I think he's a great take. I think he could end up being your number one quarterback, not like overall, but for Florida State, that is.
Yeah.
Their number one overall quarterback in the 23 class. He's a gifted athlete with a gifted arm. I mean, you got to like where you're at, and he's got a pretty energetic kid with good charisma who should draw some more talent with him.
And that's a huge FSU fan, cousin Terrell Buckley. We have been speaking with him for about a year. Josh Pick, as well as one of our new writers, Max Scarpio, interviewed him last month, and he was like, no, FSU's my number one. Everybody kind of saw this going. He's been paying attention to X's and Knowles and our recruiting podcast and just the state of recruiting. Been kind of like foretold. Kevin, have you had a chance to watch the film?
Yeah, so I think one thing that's encouraging about seeing a kid like this sign is, especially in the realm of long-term and Mike Norvell, is that Mike Norvell doesn't have a type when it comes to quarterback. And so that's an encouraging thing. That means he can pretty much take the best available. He's not looking for someone to fit into a mold. He's going to take a kid that he thinks is the best quarterback available, and he's going to make something out of it. A lot of coaches don't really have that ability. They want to take someone that looks a certain way, is a certain way, and then make them like into a mold. But I think it's encouraging sign that, as a team that's on the rise, we're not going to be signing 5-star quarterbacks every year. So getting that high 3-star, low 4-star type kid, that's probably better than his ranking is something that is something you're going to have to do to get back into the swing of things.
No, you made a really interesting point with the fact that Norvell does not have a prototype. Like, you have done the videos on not only did he create an offense for your standard like pro style, but Jordan Travis threw together on the fly at Memphis.
Yeah,
it was not really like we only had one running quarterback. I think his entire like offensive coordinator and coaching career, like he's not really like fixated on that. We're gonna dive deeper, obviously, when you guys hit the film in a little bit, but also big man trenches. That's all AB. Like, he is stoked on that. What do you think them committing, when this has been like foretold for a minute, like people have been crystal balling them, how does that speak to the relationships? Do you think that they're building at FSU?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it just is a positive sign that they're able to build relationships, because even if, you're talking 22 kids in a class of 22 kids, and, these coaches have been here for over a year now, but that's still a short time, because some of these guys have been getting talked to by like the University of Miami or wherever for more than a year. So those relationships, so it's nice to see that they've been able to jump in there and build this type of bond in this quick a time. they've obviously been looking ahead to 22, 23, 24 since they stepped foot on campus. It's encouraging. It's something you like to see. It's nice to see Odell get his hooks into a kid and get him in the class in Daniel Lyons. Very exciting prospect. And then, man, we landed an offensive tackle.
Another one.
A
The offensive
prototypical
line recruiting has been nice.
Alex Atkins is a godsend to this program.
No, it's been beautiful. And then, just the relationships overall. Brian McFadden had Travis Hunter on his podcast the other day, and he was talking about all awesome stuff. The Norvell interview was awesome if you all have not listened to it. But Travis Hunter said the reason he is committed is the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot to say, especially like that is not an indictment, more like just a statement that just really exemplifies what this school is doing. They won 3 games last year, and they have the number 7 recruiting class.
So, Perry, I've got a question for you.
Oh, thank you.
You've been following this team for a long time, right? You've been writing for them since the Jimbo days, at least. Is there another time that you would kind of compare to just kind of the general excitement and building of this program?
People are going to hate it, but Willie Taggart, like that just first year when you're like, oh, this is going to work out. Because Jimbo
that's the wrong answer, Perry.
Early signing day took a lot of the excitement out of recruiting. But I would say that 2013 class wasn't you had that anticipation built up after the national championship. It didn't really come together. But that 2012 class, that was fun. That was everybody committing. Jalen Ramsey doing the Notre Dame, right? Was it Notre Dame?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was fun. It was just a good time. That 2012 class paid off heavy. It's been a long time because, you don't have the underdog come from behind, nowhere, huge recruiting class. It was mainly, under Jimbo, top 5, just consistently. It was just expectations. So
it reminds me of 2010.
When they were just putting together everybody who they needed.
Yeah, LaMarcus Joyner, Jeff Luke. Those are guys that they were kind of the backbone of that national title class. You look at Travis Hunter, you look at Sam McCall, AJ Duffy. These are guys. Quayshawn Saps has become a big time recruiter for this group now. You just see these guys that people want to come play for, especially Travis Hunter. He's big time. He's a real deal. He's Showtime, and we're going to get a video out on him soon here of kind of breaking down. Yeah, if we can ever get things to line up, we're going to get a video out on him. But you just start looking at that kid and what he's able to kind of do. Having a Jaleel Skinner involved, with his staff, and like you mentioned, coming off a 3-6 season, it just kind of feels like that 2010 group again. Now they got to go.
So you're saying in 3 years I can mark down a national championship? Just pencil it in from AB. Coach
you can
AB
mark down this year
2024 national championship.
Beating Notre Dame.
Let's see how big
all the games off.
Let's see how big the SEC is by then.
70 teams.
Just an NCAA bracket every season of all the SEC teams. But it has been phenomenal catching up with you guys. Don't forget that not only are the boys about to jump into some film analysis tomorrow, Monday, they're also recording a huge megapod with our Florida State recruiting guys. Make sure you follow on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe on the pod channel. You will get it first, and you'll be able to brag to all your friends.
All right, our first commitment from the weekend is Daughtry Richardson. He committed on Sunday at around 3 p.m. Daughtry's long been considered a lean to Florida State. He's originally from the Tallahassee area. I believe he went to Godby High School, now down in Miami Central. Now down in Miami Central High School in Miami, Florida. Florida State beat out to Miami and beat out Kentucky for this prospect. 2 schools they fought hard to beat. He's ranked as the number 39 overall number 44 overall offensive tackle, a 3-star prospect, 6'4", 285 offensive tackle. He's a true offensive tackle too. I think he's longer than what he's listed at 6'4". Yeah, just meaning his arm length and those kinds of things. His frame is longer than a traditional 6'4". You see great feet. He's a true prospect. This staff really is really, really high on him. There was obviously some talk and some question marks as their off the tackle boards expanded, and you're looking at guys like Pritchett and Armella and others.
Right.
This is a guy that they targeted early though, and they really liked. So.
Yeah, definitely the first thing that stands out about him is his length. He looks long. He looks like someone that sets the edge. He doesn't quite have the polish on him, which is probably why you're not seeing him up as a 4-star right now. But yeah, I mean, I would agree. He's just a great frame to work with, right?
Yeah. There's a lot there you can mold. You see good footwork. You see, I mean, there's great hips right there. He's finishing that block.
So when you say great hips, what do you mean?
Yeah, he's able to get his hips up through him. He's able to keep his butt up under him and get his hips up through when he's driving people. A lot of times you see guys that are kind of waist benders. He's able to kind of play with that flat back, not standing straight up, but that flat back. And as he's making that contact and he's driving, he gets his hips through and gets a good choppy feet working.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. He seems comfortable in space here, which is a good thing to start with. So, is there a theme that you've seen with some of these offensive line takes?
Great overtake on the backside there. Length, length,
yeah.
and length. Yeah, they like length. I think
size and length, and good feet too. Pretty agile guys. They seem to want to take.
Yeah, these are the kind of guys that Florida State's been needing to recruit at the offensive line position, and now they're starting to get them.
Yeah, it seems like
I should zoom that camera in a little bit, but I mean, you see him overtaking there on a D end. That's good blocking, and people are like, "Oh, that kid's on the outside." But listen, in football, a hat on a hat is what you're looking for. That kid can't make a tackle if you're attached to him, and he's attached to him. There's a good overtake there at first, good footwork. He's overtaking a kid that's coming up the field on the outside, and he gets a nice block here.
Yeah, especially with zone plays, the old adage is take them where they want to go. So if they want to keep going outside and keep pushing it outside, it's just going to open up a bigger cutback lane. So this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's good that he stays attached.
Yeah, it's crucial in football.
So is there any departing thoughts with kind of where this offensive line class stands right now?
What if they're at 6 commitments right now, I believe. I think they're going to keep taking. I just think they're going to keep taking guys. And Eston Harris Jr., a 4-star offensive tackle, named him the leader today. Elijah Pritchard was back on campus today. We're going to go over that a little bit more tomorrow night with the recruiting boys. But I think they're going to keep taking them and see where things finish.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, they like finishers. That's been a pretty big trend too. These guys that drive into the ground.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they're looking for guys that like playing football.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty important thing.
nice athletic, getting down the field.
All right, I think it's time we can move
there.
on.
Oh, run that one back. There's a good shot of
ready?
hips. So. Yeah, there's a good shot of hips here. Watch. Well, look, see how he gets his butt comes through with his hips there at the point of contact. Boom, right there.
Yep.
That's what you're looking for. That's where you're lifting those guys up, and they have no control now. You're in complete control.
Yeah, that's that textbook drill, right, where they've got the dummies and they push them up into the air and drive them backwards. That's textbook.
Yeah. All right, you ready to move forward to another commitment?
Yeah.
That's right. Not one.
But we got 2 more for you.
2 on the weekend, 3 on the week. It was a big week. All right, next up is Daniel Lyons, a 3-star defensive tackle out of Homestead, Florida. Goes to Homestead High School. 6'4", listed 6'4", 270 pounds. This is a big get for Odell Higgins. This is a guy they've targeted early as a defensive tackle prospect that they really love. He's rated as a number 67 defensive tackle in the class, number 453 overall in the country in the 24/7 composite. I like this take. I think this kid's a good player. I think he's underrated, again, as a 3-star. Maybe that's me just being a homer, but look, I like agile, fast, quick, up-the-field defensive lineman, and that's what he is.
Yeah, I think that's what that first stands out. He's one of those kids where he's got the quickness and athleticism, especially at the high school level where he could have been playing defensive end, but he's also got the strength to kind of hold up on the interior.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. You just got finished with a coverage video on Adam Fuller that people should check out. We've been discussing kind of what the defense wants to do, and we think they want to become more penetrating in nature up front. I mean, you look at Bishop Thomas and now this kid Lyons. I mean, look at that get off. Look at that burst up the field. He splits that double team and he's in the backfield. That's hard to defeat. Is guys that are quick into the backfield that are making these zone runs, have to bounce or have to cut back. I mean, this is the way football's kind of going these days with these quick, agile defensive linemen.
In this film from 2002.
Those are great hands, though. Disengages into the blocker quickly, and then disengages in the backfield.
Yeah, you like to see that because a lot of these kids can just get by being the better athletes at the high school level. So that little bit of hand play and a little bit of showing that technical ability is nice to see as well.
Yeah, stacking and shedding are very important things for a defensive line position. Really, any position on defense, getting off of blocks. But and there he is again in the backfield. You notice a lot of plays in the backfield. Again, I think this isn't the traditional defensive tackle that you maybe think about with Florida State, but they're going to a little bit different, more penetrating style.
Yep.
They want these guys. Yeah, they want these guys getting up the field, and that's what the Lions, that's what Bishop Thomas, that's what these guys do well.
Well, that's what people aren't going to like to hear this name, but Manny Diaz has made a living on just getting these really quick, really agile defensive linemen that are able to get penetration and a pass rush, and it means that you can be more aggressive with the secondary.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I think this is a nice thing to see. It's something that you can tell that Fuller's got a clear identity of where he wants to go with this defensive line, and he wants to enable his DBs to be able to play in man and not worry about having to cover for 20 seconds.
Yeah, agreed.
So would you say this guy's more of a 3-tech or a 1-tech?
I think he's listed 6'4", 270. I would love to know what his arm length is. I think he's probably going to be more of a 3-tech, and Thomas may be more of a 1-tech, depending on what kind of weight they could put on him.
Right.
But again, 3-tech, 1-tech, when you're talking about guys getting up the field, it's all the same.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to want a traditional 1-tech who's more of that doorstop, but they're selling out for the pass rush, for the aggressiveness.
Yeah. You see good athleticism. I mean, he redirects down the line of scrimmage, again, getting off the blocks there. Kid was in his chest. He plays a little high at times. So, I mean, you see there are things he's got to work on. But I trust Odell Higgins to kind of get him right.
So do you think you see a rise in general recruiting ranking for this kid?
Yeah, I think depending on how his senior year goes. I don't know how many camps he got out to and all that stuff, but how much that plays an impact in kids' rankings. But depending on how his senior film looks, and if it looks anything like his junior film, I would imagine he is probably a prospect that's on the rise. Again, you're talking about Florida and Todd Grantham were after him. Miami with Manny Diaz were after him, and Jess Simpson. I mean, these are big-time defensive line programs that were after this young man. So it speaks to what his potential obviously is.
Yeah. All right. So we've kind of exhausted his film here, so I think it's time to move on.
Yeah. Our final commitment of the night that we're going to discuss happened earlier in the week. I believe it might have been Wednesday. Is from class of 2023 quarterback prospect Chris Parsons. He's rated as a 3-star, 89 overall in the composite. He's number 288 nationally, number 19 quarterback. He's listed at 6 foot, 190 out of Ravenwood High School in Brentwood, Tennessee. I think he's been to a few different high schools. He and his family have kind of moved around the country a little bit. Kev, what do we see? Quarterback. That's you, baby.
Yeah, so immediate thoughts is that he's got an arm and he's athletic, right? I think anybody who has watched football can see those two things, but this is probably his best throw that I've seen in his highlight tape, so I kind of want to spend a second here. So you kind of have this dig coming across the field here, and he drives it into a little gap in zone coverage. And this is a higher level throw. So a lot of these quarterbacks want to put these, touchdown throws. So it's coming right here. So he sees this, he starts loading up, and he sees this gap here. And so this is good anticipation. It's a good throw. He drives through his front leg, which is something I think you should talk about here in a minute because it's something you noticed. He doesn't always do, but he delivers a good ball here.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to take it back one more time, we can talk about it a little bit further. So when Kev's talking about driving through his front legs, I noticed earlier in the film that he threw a deep ball. He threw the ball, and he probably threw the ball 65 yards in the air, but he threw it off his back foot. It was that last play.
All right, let's go back.
Yeah. So on this play right here, you're going to see he's going to kind of scramble around. He gets a little bit of pressure in his face. He's throwing. I mean, he kind of gets into it a little bit, but his elbows down. He does not have all of his weight on that front foot, and his elbows kind of down below his shoulder. This kind of gives you an idea what his arm talent is, and the velocity he can kind of generate through his core. So he's really kind of throwing that thing off his back foot, because you see there's no follow through. He kind of he jumps into it almost. I don't know what he's doing, but this ball goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. Like, I think you see this with really high level quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and stuff, who are able to deliver these kind of passes without their base under them. But
there it is again. I mean, another situation here where he's kind of fading away.
But sometimes, like here in this situation, you don't always have to be Patrick Mahomes. You know, there's times when you, in a college safety is going to get back there if you float this too much. Yep. And so you need to step into that ball a little bit better. Yeah.
So, like with most quarterbacks, mechanically things are going to have to get worked on. He's going to need to do that work in the pocket. Yeah, I mean, that's a horrible ball. It's good. It's on his highlight film. It's a terrible ball.
Right.
And I'm sure he'd probably tell you the same thing. I mean, it's great touchdown, but it's not as good a ball as what he threw there, where he steps up and gets that weight on his front foot.
Yeah, here's another one. This is a hard thing for quarterbacks to do. He is moving to his left. This is textbook right here. Moving to his left. He sets his shoulders towards his target.
Belly button to the target.
And he throws the ball. Like, that's a beautiful throw. That's really hard to do. Go out in your backyard and try to do it. You probably
and then this is the best throw I think on his tape so far. He steps into it, drives it into a hole.
Right. You like to see the arm talent, but you also want to see that he does have the technique when he's comfortable.
Yeah. Here's another one where he lollipops it up there.
I mean, I don't know what this safety thinks he's doing, but this is it's cover 3, and he throws a friggin' cross route right over his head.
And this is a one replay too. I mean, all the way he's looking left. He's going to this whoever this receiver is the whole way.
That's
fine.
I mean, you want to see here he has the time and space to really kind of step in and make a more solid throw. Yeah. But also he has the luxury that he can throw it just on that side of the field anywhere and just get a touchdown. Yeah.
So athletically, this is a talented young man. He's clearly has another one.
Throwing on the run is when he really excels, though.
Yeah, he seems to be a strength. I told you earlier, I know this is ridiculous to say because he may never be anything like this young man. But when I look at him, when I watch him running around and moving around, and how he carries the ball and kind of his basic setup, he looks like Deshaun Watson from afar.
Exactly right here. This throw looks so much like Watson to me.
Yeah. I mean, and I've seen some people say DeAndre Francois. I don't see that at all. Watching him, he looks just like Deshaun Watson to me.
That's
humongous praise. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying he's going to be Deshaun Watson, but
yeah, when he's comfortable in the pocket, he does kind of have those overtones. I can see the Francois thing because Francois did not have to step into the ball, and he had just amazing arm talent. But
yeah.
Other than that,
so I don't know if it's this one or run it back one more play. This is why he's not DeAndre Francois right here. He throws with touch
and anticipation, right? That's the same thing I talked about earlier.
See how he finesses this ball in there?
Right, we got a post over some zone coverage, and he throws it over them. Frenchie wouldn't see this, or if he did, he would try to throw it through this linebacker. He would
throw 8,000 miles an hour.
So I think he might not have the height of Frenchie, but right now he looks like he's got a little bit better of those kind of intangibles when it comes to throwing the ball.
Oh, there's another one. Wait. It's uncanny. It's uncanny to me how he looks like Deshaun Watson. I mean, I would imagine he probably watched a lot of Deshaun Watson because he's kind of the it quarterback as this young man's been coming up.
Yeah, and also the one thing about Deshaun Watson that he's kind of carried over is this kind of lame back leg that Watson has. Yep. And to be fair, Tom Brady does this too, where his back leg doesn't drive through and his hips stay closed. Right? Normally, if you're driving this ball in here or throwing a good ball, you want that hip rotation. But notice how the hips are still facing the camera. That's a Watson-esque thing, the late hip rotation. It's not exactly the best thing to carry over, but what makes Watson isn't necessarily his mechanics.
He is talented on the run.
Oh yeah, that's by far what seems to be his defining characteristic.
His ball fakes are a little quick. I mean, he could be a little more patient with his ball fakes, but those are things that these kids are going to learn.
Oh, here's another good.
Yeah, he drove this thing in there.
And even then, like, he does have a little bit of an open stance when it comes to throwing. So you'll see even when he's driving this ball, direct to target would be around here with his foot.
Yeah.
And he steps open, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So if you hear that as a criticism, it's not necessarily a bad thing as long as your hips rotate through.
So there, that ball's got a little bit of loft to it on the sideline throw. He's got the tools. He's got the game. That's for sure. There's things he's gonna have to tighten up. I wonder if he's really 6 foot. I mean, he looks a little shortish in this film.
Yeah,
but that's not the end. That's not the end of the world, though. That's not the end of the world anymore.
Especially when he can throw on the run.
That's 1990s football. It's not 1990 anymore. I mean, these shorter players are showing you that they can excel. I mean, Aries able to get the ball out quick. You like seeing that.
Shoot, what are you talking about? When I was in high school, if you were 6 foot tall, no one wanted you.
Another no laces drill there. He's able to just catch and throw. I mean, he probably has decent sized hands if he's able to catch the ball and get it out quickly like that.
And I think we'll see that this year. Norvell's going to do a good job of working Jordan Travis in with Mackenzie Milton, or at least that's the impression that they're kind of trying to give through a lot of the. They both seem like co-captains at this point, and so a quarterback like this, he can have a lot of fun with.
Ooh.
That's nasty.
Yeah, enjoy this. I enjoy this young man. I wish he was coming in with Duffy.
Yeah, no, like that's what I was saying is having him on the same roster as Duffy doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have a exodus of quarterbacks. It means that we could probably have different quarterbacks for different times.
Agreed. All right, Kev, let's get out of here.
Yep, I'm having fun, but I think it's about time to call it. We'll be back probably in the next day or so.
No, we're going to be back tomorrow night. We're going to sit down with the Tomahawk Nation Florida State recruiting guys. Kind of intro to you to them as they get their pod up and rolling. They've done a couple episodes already, but we wanted to get them on and let them talk about the Seminole Showcase.